Thank you guys. I didn't know that anybody was getting offered some kind of dealy deal. I didn't know that. I would have just thrown that in there. And like, buy now and get a Ginsu knife and stuff like that. Well, again, guys, my name is Quentin from Blonde Robot. I manage the pro video accounts with Blonde Robot. What we are a distribution company, but we work with our dealers like Michael's in basically being able to really give as much information out to the end users, to you folks. It's not just professionals, it's not just anybody who's interested, it's really a lot of the gear that we have is used in every different, it can be segmented very differently from just a hobby, a passion, to a way to increase business. So I'm gonna, the way that I'm gonna talk about the few things that I have here is gonna be really geared towards all of those, okay? So I'm not gonna show you, this is what you're gonna want to only accomplish this or this and this. I'm basically just going to tell you what's moving in the video industry and especially in a production industry. And that could be anything from content creators who just want to create, I don't know, a really awesome Instagram and you want to get some followers up. Maybe you don't want to get followers up, you just want to look cool on Instagram or some kind of social media. On the other end of things, what if you're a business that has a product or you offer a service and you want to actually get that message out to other people? Well, there are ways to do it and to do it better. So I don't know if you got a chance to just kind of just go through the whole scrolling of how they advertise this training session, but honestly it's open. So afterwards we have a short slotted amount of time. Afterwards we're gonna have a nice 10-minute session to Q&As. Also come up and handle some of the material. That's what it's here for. That's what Michael's also has the ability to get some of the demo gear from us, from Blonde Robot, and we're happy to do that so that people can actually use it, something tangible that they can try to see, oh, okay, this is how I operate it. Great, this is how it works for me. So to get started, I'm gonna go ahead and I think the approach I wanted to start with was really the content creation side of the whole production workflow, okay? And that is basically starting from capturing the image, right? Capturing the video or the image if you're just doing photography. So I'm gonna start with tripods. Now this is a tripod that I think is pretty much the first time a tripod has been reinvented since they came out in, I don't know, maybe the 30s or something like that, really. At least professional grade. This is from a company called Sackler. Some people pronounce it Sackler. I don't know, it is German. But they've been around for ages, for a very, very, very long time. This is called the Flowtech. Why do they call it that? It has some features that have been, that you might have remembered from some still photography ages. I think Manfrotto was the first one to come up with the design for the quick release, the quick setup. So basically I'm just going to show you this particular one. It can be raised and dropped with just 3 little latches. It's full carbon fiber and it's basically, I'd say, one of the most rugged tripods in the industry for professional video. Now it does have a fluid head, and I'm going to go over what a fluid head is and why it's different than a friction head. As you can see, when it's set at 0, you should have 0 friction. 0, absolutely nothing. It's a good way to test whether a tripod is actually a fluid head. You might have heard that before, or if it's just a friction head, but they say fluid because it gives the motion of fluidity. So one thing to look out for. So that's why you saw this thing just flapping around as it is. And I'm going to show you really, once you set it and you were to balance it correctly, what a video tripod should do. So again, back to the Flowtech, just to show you a few things. The shaping is interesting. It no longer is a tubular form of carbon. This is a carbon weave that is more so that it forms almost a barrel. This barrel makes it easy for transport, obviously, for having it, I don't know how many times everybody has seen somebody walking across or walking up a mountain or trying to get to that next spot where that awesome shot is and just throwing it on their shoulder. Much more comfortable than just having that pole jutting out and jabbing into your shoulder. Second, there's other features that are inside of this, which are some of the fast removable feet. Some people call them boots. So they do come with spikes on the ends, and then really the boot or the foot is that easy to put on flat and also very flexible, so that if you were on just surfaces that are not really flat. Moving on a little bit more to it, as you can see, it's not just opening up. Why? It has these hard magnets that are there to be able to hold the feet together in a sense. So it just packs down nice and solid in one form. There have probably been some where you try to compact it together and it just has the feet flopping around. A nice little feature. So now let's get back into what I was saying about just, I guess, fluid tripods and true fluidity. And then I'll show you a couple more features as I go about it. So let's go ahead and just set this up as if I was going to go ahead and get that shot. Great. Now, a true fluid head as well as a video tripod is great just because you can adjust the level of the tripod quick and easy. Now this is a 75 mil bowl video tripod, and what that means is that the tripod head sits on a bowl. So that really, if I'm on an uneven surface, I can easily try to get it, let's say, as level as possible. Let's just pretend I have some kind of rocks or something in the way, right? Let's just pretend. You guys can see that it's all askew. Well, I have a bubble level with a small little LED light just right on the top, and I can take a look. I simply unscrew, get it leveled up, and guess what? I'm nice and level. It doesn't matter where I just ended up. It doesn't matter where I put the tripod. I did it that fast, that easy, and then I just put it down. Now I'm going to now show you about the fluidity of a tripod, and especially about a true fluid head and a video tripod. Something to keep in mind also for people who are into just photography, just still imaging, okay? And I'm especially talking about the people who are, where they see the benefits of a tripod, especially a fluid one, is if they're shooting with larger telephoto lenses that have that extra weight. As you know, sometimes it feels a little forward heavy. Why? It's just because the whole center of gravity gets thrown off. So let's take a quick little look. There is a couple of steps that go into setting up a tripod, right? And one I would start with is just the center of gravity. And that's, where does this sit? Where does it stand? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to unlock this really quick. And like I told you, as you can see, it's true fluid. So there's zero resistance. That also is true in the pan. And here we have that. So the best thing to do is to try to find your center of gravity. As we can see, we're more front forward. Let's just go ahead and move this back until we get to kind of what we're aiming for, which is a little bit more towards the even side. Then we can go ahead and throw those fluidity levels. As you can see, we have 3 different degrees on this, on the pan, and then we have 3 different degrees on the tilt. Now, as you can see, we have this retraction in the tilt, which means I don't have that center of gravity right. It should just stay still. Should not want to bounce back and have this counterbalance back. That's what you want in a tripod, as you can see. So once you get it set correctly, it should just stay exactly where you put it so that you can have that shot ready. This is before I'm locking anything off. This is exactly what it should do. This is exactly what happens in the professional video sector, and where you can see the benefit, again, going back to those photographers that are trying to get that shot with that long, let me just decrease the drag on that. Maybe I need to move it a little faster. Let's put it on 1. There we go. Just so if you want to go ahead and just make certain you get that shot that you're after when you're tracking, maybe some kind of a bird of prey or something like that. It just really takes a lot of that strain off of you. So again, as you can see, full fluid head, and it should just be exactly where you leave it if you counterbalance it correctly. If I were to use a bigger camera, maybe a camera where I'm shooting video and I need to add batteries, maybe a camera where I have an Adamus Ninja V on there, it's added weight. Well, there are counterbalancing steps, which are just degrees here, which add some counterbalance to it so that it doesn't tip, so it's not enough weight. So right now I don't have the weight on there, but let me increase it so you can see what I'm talking about. So it adds that spring coming back. But if there was added weight on here, it would stay exactly where it was at. So giving you that, just that little setup of what to look for, especially in a true fluid head, in what the evolution of tripods is doing right now in the industry. And really, when you guys have a moment, again, it's a playtime, come up here and see how much these legs weigh, A, and then B, see just as quick as easy as I set this up, and how maybe if I wanted to go ahead and pack it down, I can just go ahead and be on my way. I would have just locked that off, obviously, but I wish Matt would have screwed that on right. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. Which he didn't. That's okay. But that's one thing to look for.
And what's the cost?
On this particular one, talk to Michaels. I don't sell this. What we do is we help out. And this is, again, that's part of Q&A at the end of this. So I just want to go over this. I think it's around, it's like 22 maybe. Something like that. That's with tax. Again, full fluid head. There's other specs I can give you too. What's its payload, which is very important. It's not just its weight. Payload is how much weight you can put on it. And that one is 8 kilos. So probably what I have on there with a standard 2470, that's probably only 1.5 kilos. And then the camera alone with battery, maybe 2, you're fine. You can just keep adding stuff onto there, really, if you wanted to. So going on a little bit more to the content creation side of things, we're also showcasing what else is needed, right? In content creation, it's some kind of media, right? Memory cards. Now, especially if people are getting into video, there's new cameras out on the market like the Blackmagic Pocket 4K Cinema. There are some other ones like the new released Sony a7R III. And a lot of these cameras will now be able to record straight to an SSD, which is awesome, right? Using a USB-C, which is that new USB connection. We at Blonde Robot, we represent a company called Angelbird. Some people might have heard of them. They are a company out of Austria that actually create media for lots of different devices, not only cameras, but also recording monitors like Atomus. And I'm gonna get into that for a second. They create things that are pretty much high spec, which is a full read and write speed. And the thing that I really like about them is they actually, they use high quality full aluminum as well. So these are SSDs, so there's no moving parts, solid state drives, and they have full aluminum casings. So honestly, I mean, I like my gear. I like to protect it, but I'm not precious with it. So I mean, I can just do stuff like that. I mean, you know, if you were doing a presentation, I mean, honestly. And then there's other things too. When I was going back to it and saying those cameras that now record onto USB-C, they also sell some of the coolest SSDs on the market that are used for recording onto those media. This here is a solid state drive. It's about a little bit bigger than a Zippo lighter. This particular one is 512. It goes to 1 terabyte and to 2 terabytes, and it's this big. These are used right now definitely on those cameras that I specified. Also for anybody who's like in the field. One of the better parts I love about this one too, and I'll throw it down in a minute so you can see, is the design. And this is because maybe some people can really appreciate and maybe have experienced this this thing that I've done. And the reason I appreciate this is it has a recessed port for the cable. Now I don't know if you guys have ever been trying to maybe write data to your hard drive while you're in the car maybe, or moving, and it's just like hanging off your laptop. Am I the only one? Yeah, okay, I might be the only one, that's fine. But the cool thing is that it doesn't unplug. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Look, it's not unplugging. So it sits there and it's recessed and it doesn't come off. Really the only danger you're gonna have is if it actually comes out of your computer. Very cool, amazingly cool. And it is available with, it comes with 2 different cables. This is USB-C to USB-C. So new Macs, new PCs, you have the USB connection. And it also comes with the other one, which is USB-C, which goes into the device. And then a USB-A, which is one that everybody's kind of familiar with, you know, the one that your iPhone cable will plug into the wall in. So again, a really cool device that you'll be able to take a look at. It's just one of many different media that Angelbird produces. So again, this is just a solid state drive that they make specifically for the Atomus range of recorders. This here we have a Ninja V. It's really the Ninja 5. I say Ninja V, it doesn't matter. Potato, tomato. And so anyway, it fits in full aluminum casing and highest read speed and write speed, and sustainable. I'm going to say that again, and somebody bring that up in maybe a Q&A. Why is that important for sustainable, and how does that differ from other camera manufacturers? I'll tell you about that in a minute. And why is it so hard to get a spec sheet out of any other media manufacturer about what's a sustainable read and write speed, not just a read and write speed. So moving on, for another thing that they do make C-Fast memory cards. So for anybody who's using those big fast 1DX Mark IIs, or using Hasselblads, or using, like, let's say some Blackmagic Ursas or Ursa Pros or the G2s, or those data-rich still cameras and video cameras, they also make C-Fast. 2.0s, fast, and much more aggressively priced, just meaning lower than the other ones on the market. So I think moving on, since we're still talking about content creation and what is needed to actually make the content, you need to record to something. So there is a recording device, a recording monitor that's out on the market, and you guys might have heard of it. This is going to be right here, the Timelapse recording monitor. Can we just have a quick hands if anybody's heard of the Timelapse devices? Okay, I got a few. I have some that don't, so that's good. So let me just explain what it is. So if we can just see it, Matt can help us out and put it right here so everybody can take a look at. It's basically, as you can see, it looks like a small inch screen, and it is. That's all it is, really. But the really interesting part is all the brains inside of it. So what we're doing is we're just going outside of our camera and then into here with a HDMI 2.0 cable. HDMI 2.0 cable. Why did I really want to stick that into you is because if you want to be able to record 4K or a high-speed HD, which is just high def, which is 1080, you need a cable that can transmit a high data-rich signal, which is HDMI 2.0. They make other ones. The standard cable that you see on the market is an HDMI 1.4. It's good, but it's the way the cable is made inside of it that is able to really pass through that data, okay? So if anybody ever has a question of, oh man, I got a 4K camera and I'm trying to record 4K and I have a cable and it won't do it, 99% of the time it's because of the cable, all right? Again, HDMI 2.0, we can talk about that in Q&A. So what we're doing here and what an Timelapse Ninja V, Ninja 5, excuse me, does is that it basically unlocks your camera's ability to record high data rich and editable ready video. What does that mean? Well, your camera is basically doing about 1 million different things at once, and one of those very important things is that it's recording straight from the sensor into its internal processor. You might have read spec sheets about what does it record. Is it 8-bit? Is it 10-bit color? What's the color space? Is it 420? Is it 422? It's a lot of just me spouting off a lot of different acronyms and numbers. But what I'm saying is that the cameras, and I mean a lot of them out on the market, especially the new ones, including the new A7R Mark III, is not able to really record internally a very high data rich video file. Now, what is a high data rich video file? It is a file that you can really edit a lot of. It has all this kind of hidden information that you can really bring out some details in those maybe the sun that looks way overblown, or maybe the shadows that look way too dark. You're able to do that with a codec that you might have heard of called ProRes. There's also ProRes RAW, and that is a file structure for those people that don't know what that is. And it's easy to edit, meaning there's hidden data within there. So what this Timelapse device is doing, not only is it showing you the screen in a nice high brightness level, so you can actually see it in bright sunlight in the middle of the day. It's also incredibly sharp, and it's basically recording straight from the camera's sensor. Right now there's some older cameras out on the market, Canon 5D Mark IIIs, Nikon D800s. There's people that have probably a 7D Canon. There's actually a lot of potential in your camera to record your current camera without even having to upgrade your cameras. It's to be able to record a better file that you could actually edit and get better results from, you know, like boosting that saturation or getting that detail in the clouds that you wanted to record. An amazing device that really only operates off of a Sony battery, L series battery they call it. So to move on a little bit more is that now we're going to talk about the next thing that you always need. You need to be able to power this bad boy up, right? To power a lot of things up. I'd say, terribly sorry, excuse me, is that you're really going to, that's probably one of the largest questions is only because of how to get stock into the country, into Australia, because batteries are considered dangerous goods, is how do I power this? Well, Blonde Robot, we've worked out with a Japanese manufacturer named IDX to bring in these pretty amazing batteries. We have these batteries here that basically are L series batteries that are used on not only all Timelapse devices, but other video equipment that take Sony L series batteries. You folks can check it out. I'm not going to get into fine detail. They're basically lightweight. They have 2 additional outputs, meaning, I mean, they have a USB. I can charge my phone off of one of these at the same time of it powering this. Amazing. I can also, it has another port called an X tap, where I can actually put here it is. I can actually buy an accessory that they sell as well, and I can power another device off of there. Like maybe a light that I have on here, or maybe a microphone that needs some power. And I can do that all off of one battery. So it can actually power multiple devices all simultaneously and for an extended period of time. This particular one is 48 watt hours. Again, I'm not gonna go too much into it, but there's, I can definitely help you out to kind of know what it is that it powers. So we're gonna move on really quick now into, I guess, the lighting side. For everybody who's trying to do maybe those podcasts, or maybe those people who want to go onto location and do the interviews, or anybody who just wants to do some product shots and do it in a very fun way, maybe just adding light to it. Maybe you just want to go outside, oops, it happens to be raining. Maybe you just are like a one-man crew or a two-man crew and you just want to do lighter weight. Well, I'm just unplugging stuff. Well, there is another battery that's out on the market that we represent, which is called Cineroid. It's a flexible light. It is waterproof, and it is pretty high output, as you can see. It has a really good color index value, and when you guys get up here on top, you'll be able to see, and I'll just go ahead and just show you how flexible it is. This has been used underwater. The last time I used it for a demonstration, we had just a fish tank and we put it underneath and we were dropping like apples and like, you know, your watch in there and taking the pictures that way. I mean, the cool thing is it's waterproof, like 100% waterproof. It's not like water resistant. It's waterproof, which is cool. Up until it plugs into here. All right, this part's not. That is. And you can actually get an extended cable if you wanted. So just throwing that out there, just so nobody like throws the controller in. But just to show you a couple little things about it that makes it so super easy and crazy is that it is a bicolor. I can go from 2700, just like that. I can match my ambient, you know, maybe tungsten lights. And then I can go all the way to 6500, which is a little bit cooler than basic daylight, which is around 55, 56 for some people. It's just a simple knob. Easy thing I can do just to kind of lock it off. I have this simple, easy lock button. Boom, I've locked it. And if I accidentally adjust it, it doesn't go anywhere. Next, which is cool, that's only at 61% as I keep unplugging it. Let's go ahead and go up. So I'm gonna unlock it and let's go up. That's 100. And this is all out of a small, flexible light that I've been able to put this nice little softbox on. And it fits in what looks like a laptop case. The big one does. The other one, which is that smaller 1x1, fits in what looks like a lunch box, really, doesn't it? It looks like a lunch box, yeah. So just a couple of things in terms of the lighting space that you should think about. Oh, there's the lunch box, which I gotta tell you is really funny when somebody brings this on set, you know? They're like, oh, I'm just gonna do an interview, hold on, and they put it down. You're like, well, you're gonna feed me first? I don't know. So we have that. Then, I think for the live stream demo, I think what we're gonna have to do, because I know I'm talking a lot and I try not to talk so fast, but we have more than a few products to wanna show you in this short amount of time. So for the live stream part, I'll be able to do a demonstration with those who are interested to see how it's done. But I will show you one tiny little device that does it. And that does it very quick and does it very easy. And really, it's small. So this right here is a device that is, it's called an encoder. But what it is let me just tell you, the title of the device is AJA is the company. It's called a UTAP. And it's an HDMI version, meaning plugging in an HDMI cable, right? What this allows you to do is to plug a HDMI camera feed straight into this little box. No power needed. Then plug their USB cable into your computer And if you were to have an internet network, you could then stream. It's basically taking your camera, the one that exists right now that you have, doesn't matter how old it is, as long as it has an HDMI output directly into here, plugging this into your computer that has an internet network, and you can use free streaming software. And one I can recommend that again is free is going to be called OBS, Open Broadcast Systems. OBS, very easy. There's tutorials online, and like I said, after this, we can go ahead and have Q&A. I can show you a quick, easy setup. Now that's if you wanted to do that type of streaming. You can easily do it to YouTube, easily to Facebook, easily to Twitch. What's the other one? Periscope people are using. You can easily do it to that. It's already unlocked in this tiny little device. AJA, again, the company that makes this product, is used openly in the broadcast production industry. Huge. And the reason is because they just make good stuff that doesn't break. And I say that with extreme confidence because they're extremely confident to say that all of their converters, including this one, has a 5-year warranty. I mean, these days you can't even get a TV that lasts 5 years. So it's one of those things. Again, this fits into your laptop case. If you can imagine, again, this camera you already own, a couple of lights, you can now live stream events well, pretty much anywhere, as long as you have a network. When I say network, you have internet. you gotta send it somehow, right? So again, just that easy. And now we're gonna go to maybe that last bit of that content creation, because again, I was talking about that people are wanting to transition to video from photography. I think just to kind of recap of how I'm trying to tell you that is that really I'm trying to show you that there are these lights that are LED that you can use for photo and that you can use for video. And with your existing camera gear, there are gear like the Atomus, which you can actually record a thicker data set, more editable video using your existing camera. There are also these movement machines, these sliders, for instance, which you can use to make just more steady, stream, flowing video with a camera you already own. Here we have this awesome robotic time lapse that we're gonna have Matthew show you right now really quick how quick and easy this is, and then I'll give you a couple ideas of how people are using this also. And then we'll move on to data, quick little explanation, and then we'll do Q&A. So Matt, just show us how the Edelkrone, the one that has the 5% pre-order, yep, discount if you wanted to. So this is one of the devices that they make. So Matt?
So in terms of wanting to record something, it's always good to have a little bit of motion. Whether you're doing an interview or some B-roll stuff, it's good to have that motion, keeps people engaged. With something like this, you might be sitting there interviewing someone, you're the only one there, you can't have another camera operator doing it. With the Edelkrone system, you can actually record some motions and get this to do it itself. So what I can do is I can actually set up to pan across to wherever I would like that to.
You gotta love an app.
Slide across to set my original starting point. I can then lock that down as a keyframe. Press on the two together, and what it will actually do is sit there and go backwards and forwards, repeating the same motion. So if you are doing, for example, an interview, it's going to have something a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more engaging for people you're trying to do some filming for. With the Edelkrone system, they do have a lot of different options available. If you want to add focus tracking, laser tracking, or remote control dollies, things that allow you to run a full production suite on your own with the phone. So that will just sit there, go backwards and forwards to the same motions. You can use the larger systems. On that one, that'll do a 45 centimeter travel. If you put it on a tripod, it'll go out to 90 centimeters. So it has a unique system where the center carriage stays in the same spot and everything else moves along with it.
So imagine my hand as the tripod, right? And then I can start from over here and I end up way over here. So it's pretty much double the length of the whole system, just to the way that it is actually geared. Yep. Which is really cool for those forward movements, because when you're trying to do a forward movement on a long tripod, you see the bloody legs. On this one, you don't, because the legs are suddenly being pulled into and you just get them out of frame, just like that.
I'll let you talk more about data.
Ah, yes. So the one thing that Matt just brought up and how that goes, I don't know if anybody has seen that, you know what David Letterman is doing now, where he does that No Need for Introduction, that one? It's on Netflix right now. Yeah, that one. Yeah. It's if you've noticed, he does that. There's that tiny movement, which is really cool. It does engage people a little bit more. And his whole new show on Netflix is really just an interview, and it just has that slightest movement, just that tiniest movement, and it just adds a big element to it. And so the last one I'm going to show right now, I mean, there's many different devices that this company also produces and manufactures that Blonde Robot does deal with, and this is data. These are RAID systems as well as personal cloud storage devices. All right, so I don't know how many times we have to see coming up for announcements, 8K, 6K, 61 megapixels, 41 megapixels, there's so many damn megapixels that are coming up. And nobody really is telling you that your data is pretty much increasing, like really it's just increasing exponentially. It's like doubling as well. When you start getting into video, folks, you're gonna not only capture the video, but then guess what? You have to edit that video. And just like photography, you wanna save the raw, but then you also wanna save the finished product. Well, you've just doubled that up. That just means more data. And what does everybody always want to do with data? They want to also have a redundant. They want to have a backup, right? And they also want to have it available. And if they're doing like a small business, they also want to be able to send the link. They want to be able to share it. Who's familiar with Dropbox? People are familiar here? Hands. Yeah, most people, right? Dropbox is easy. You sit there and you fill it up in the cloud, and then you send a link, and then the person who receives it, they gotta dump it off, right? So really, you are reliant on how your internet is just to be able to feed it into the Dropbox first, right? Then, it's out of your hands, right? Then you're just like, hey, it's up there, I sent you the link, you do the rest. I don't know if anybody else has had that moment where you're like, shit, I can't, shocks, sorry, I cannot even get the data onto the Dropbox because my internet's so slow maybe. That happens. So a quick little device that I own, I've actually brought mine in today because we're waiting for stock because we're sold out, is this first one that I'm going to show you. This here is what they call a personal cloud storage device. This is by the company Promise Technology, and this particular device is called the Apollo Cloud 2 Duo. 2 Duo seems a bit redundant, but hey. That's the title. Basically what it is, it's a device that I leave at home. I leave it home and I leave it on my network. Basically plugged into the wall, TPG, Telstra, whatever, just let it live there, plugged into the wall at home. I have it plugged in with there's two connections in the back, one that goes to the wall, to the plug, and the one that goes into the wall for my internet. You'll see that's that USB port, and I'll explain that part in a minute and the reason why I brought up Dropbox. But what it does is it sits there. There's two drives that are vertically placed in here. Each drive is 4 terabytes. 4 terabytes, so that equals 8 total, right? It is a RAID system, which means if one of those, it's mirrored. So really now just consider 8 terabytes to just be 4, because if one of them breaks, guess what? I'm cool, I'm fine. I can just change it out, quick and easy actually, just by accessing the top, a few screws, put another one in, and I got that data still on the other one. It's a backup, it's a redundancy, but the best part about it, the brilliant part, is that I can connect it and can configure it not only to my phone, but to my Apple computer, and I can have it as my time machine, meaning whenever I'm on Wi-Fi, it's backing up everything on my phone, it's backing up everything on my computer, I don't even have to worry about it. I don't even have to buy an iPhone that has a high capacity anymore because it doesn't matter to me because it's getting saved straight to here. Now I brought up Dropbox. And Dropbox is cool because it's also able to share between 40 people, including you or the user, the admin, right? So 39 plus you. If you're in a small business and you just want to have a lot of files that are available, you can actually have 40 people just being able to access everything that's on here. If you're somebody that wants to share a bunch of photos you just took for them, for a client, you can actually take your hard drive, plug it into this bad boy. Then, and you know how long that takes. It doesn't take a long time. I mean, whatever, if it's 8, 20, if it's 100 gigs, it'll take some time, obviously, to move over. But then it's on there. And then you can send a link to your client, and then after that, it's out of their hands. It's out of your hands, because it's already there. You're still relying, obviously, on your internet, but at least you got that part completely out of it. And I can share it to multiple people whenever. It's simple. It's actually an app that's on your phone right now that I can actually send a link to Matt. I can send a link from my phone if I wanted to. It's thumbnail protected. If you have a 10, it's face detection protected. And I have a complete file structure, photos, shares, favorites, and I can do it just like that. It's 8 terabytes. I can tell you the price on that one because it's easy. 8 terabytes total, and it's $5.99 with tax. So it's pretty bloody cheap. So in any case, there's a lot that we covered Q&As. So go for it. My favorite color is blue. Go for it.
You have a link to see all these things.
Yeah. So Michael's is basically going to have that. I have much information. You can always get a hold of us at Blonde Robot, and we're there. We are there to help. We do take questions, but we do work with Michael's especially because they put on this awesome, being able to come in and see the gear and play with it is to be able to do that. So that's no problem. So yes.
Now, also with that Atomos
Ninja V.
Yeah. Now, can you record? You said you can record video to it.
That is what it's there for. It's not only there for a screen; it's a recording monitor. I don't even have to record on my camera.
Yeah. What about stills? Can you record your stills?
No, it's video because it has to. It's whatever comes out of your HDMI in your camera. Some cameras can, and I say that because like the Phase 1s can. So yeah, you can do that.
Well, I've got the Olympus which I can hook onto with the HDMI.
Yeah.
Onto an external monitor.
Yep. But that monitor doesn't record.
Right?
That monitor doesn't record.
No, that doesn't record. But that's what I mean. Can this record?
To be honest with you, it depends on your camera. Meaning, you have to, mostly in cameras, you have to actually set up in the menu in your camera what goes out of the HDMI.
Right.
But yes, some cameras you can do that. You can do time lapse on that thing. But you need to set your camera to output out of the HDMI. So.
How much is the Ninja 5? Batteries and charging?
Yeah, Ninja 5 normally on its own is $995, and then you're gonna want cables. And remember what I told you, HDMI what? Yes, somebody, yes, awesome. So 2.0, if you want to be able to record that 4K or that high definition in fast speed, like maybe 240, but it depends on if your camera's able to do it, because it depends on if your camera's able to kick out that much data. If your camera doesn't do 4K, it's not gonna record 4K. So you're looking at that. Cables are probably $50, I think. I'll have to double check. Batteries are very interesting because there's actually a bit of a special that happens at Michael's. They're doing 2 batteries and a battery charger that has 2 slots, so to be able to charge simultaneously, with removable battery plates so that you can actually charge 5 different types of batteries. 2 types of Sony's, Panasonic, Canon LPE6, and something else. You have that available. And I think that's like 4 or something. Yeah, with tax. Which in a battery world, and don't forget those batteries have a lot of different things.
Do you need a smartphone to operate this gadget?
For the Edelkrone, you do need a smartphone.
Yeah, for Edelkrone, yes. Just for this guy, the beauty is that it's touchscreen. We live in a touchscreen world now. You can order your McDonald's with a touchscreen. So, excuse me.
Do you have dummy batteries for those to power cameras from?
Yeah, IDX makes dummy batteries to DTAP. Normally, so DTAPs go to those bigger batteries. So, yep, just depends on which one. I'd say the majority is BPUs. I'm just throwing out a style of battery for those people that don't know it. L-series ones, yeah. But just keep in mind, you got to make sure. It depends. Does it need to be regulated? What do you want to change? What do you want to charge? You know, that sort of thing. A couple more. Let me see if anybody knows. I mean, we're pretty much done showing this. I mean, anybody could come up and just check this stuff out. But is anybody? What are you guys doing in terms of? Is it mostly we have a lot of photographers that want to start shooting video, Like, I want to start using my camera. Is that what you want to do? Or do you want to, you're like, I have a business and I want to start doing this. I mean, there's a couple of those questions and we're here to help you with that. The beauty is that I think I showed off a couple of things that honestly, you can use all of this with your current camera, honestly. Like really, like your current camera, you can actually just hook an Adamus to it as long as it has HDMI and you get the right cable. After that, it turns into what are you going to do with all that data and how are you going to share it? And then after that, what can we do to make the video better? So again, folks, it was great coming in. If there's any questions, just hopefully come and say hey. And Michaels is here to help. So don't forget, there is that 5% for the Edelkrone, and it's whoever's cell phone that is. No, don't text those crazy pictures. All right, that's it for me, guys. Thanks.